Well, welcome everyone. It's now 12 p.m. Eastern Time, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, good day, and welcome to introducing the MISMO Link Model Explorer, presented by MISMO and Viant Eye. My name is Sheila Coble, and I will be assisting with facilitating today's session. Just a couple of reminders about the Zoom platform. You can bring up the chat box by clicking on the icon on the black bar. You might need to wiggle your mouse a bit for the black bar to appear, but once you do that, you'll see the icon for chat, and you'll be able to ask questions and make comments to the presenters. At the end of today's presentation, we'll ask you to complete a brief survey. We encourage you to provide your honest feedback, as it will help us to improve our future webinars. Once the webinar has concluded, we'll provide you a link to today's recording along with a PDF version of today's presentation for your convenience. Please feel free to type your questions into the chat throughout the webinar today, and we will do our best to respond to them at the end of the presentation as time permits. And now I'd like to introduce you to one of our presenters for today's webinar, Kelly Stoll, a facilitator with MISMO. Kelly, the floor is all yours. And again, thanks again for joining us today.
Great. Thank you, Sheila, so much, and welcome everyone. As Sheila mentioned, we are going to take a look at MISMO Link Model Explorer today. So along with Chris, look forward to that demo. I think you're going to find it a great and valuable tool. And again, the webinar is being recorded. You'll also receive a copy of this deck after the webinar concludes today. And if you are a CMSP holder with MISMO, this webinar will count for 2 education points towards your CMSP certification. Many of the MISMO webinars can be found on MISMO's YouTube channel. I wanted to point that out, as well as some tutorial videos about Link, which we will reference briefly later. If you are looking for other educational content from MISMO, there's always the MISMO Bootcamp, which is held throughout the year, along with this monthly webinar series, and a lot of YouTube shorts and information from Brian, MISMO's president, are now being posted out on YouTube. So if you haven't checked out MISMO's YouTube channel anytime recently, please do that. I think you'll find a robust offering of short videos there that will give you everything you need to know about MISMO and more. If you have any questions, you can always visit mismo.org or send an email to info@mismo.org as well. So as Sheila introduced me, my name is Kelly. I do work as a facilitator for MISMO. I am actually with Phoenix team as a senior practitioner and have been involved in MISMO and serving as a facilitator for going on about 3 years now. So I'll be doing some presentation today along with Chris from Viant Eye. And Chris is the director of product strategy with Viant Eye and really leads the product team for MISMO Link. He was previously an architect at MISMO, where he helped develop, a lot of the standards that are being utilized today. So definitely has a deep expertise and background in MISMO standards. If you are joining us today, maybe for the first time, or you are not overly familiar with MISMO, and you're saying, well, what are you? What do you do? You probably have some idea that brought you today here, but MISMO stands for the Mortgage Industry Standards Maintenance Organization, and you may have heard this before, to essentially think of MISMO like Bluetooth for mortgage. MISMO standards behind the scenes are what connect all of the pieces together in the mortgage industry, from lenders and the GSEs and third-party vendors. It's what allows it's the framework of what allows data to be transmitted and for various systems and technologies to speak to each other. They speak MISMO, if you will. So the mission is really to improve efficiency, reduce cost, and improve the mortgage experience overall. And anyone can be a member of MISMO. They are a subsidiary of the MBA. And anyone can participate in MISMO work groups and meetings. You do not have to be a MISMO member to simply participate. MISMO is by the industry, for the industry. It's made up of volunteers that really do the work. They've been around for 25 years, MISMO, over 680 member companies. There are currently over 35 work groups that are working on everything from the very beginning of the process of, applications being taken and even pre-application. There is a workshop that's going to be held at the June MISMO Summit that's going to be talking about data related to pre-application, pre-quals, pre-approvals, like standardizing what that looks like, all the way through the origination process into closing and post-closing. So the entire process or life cycle of a mortgage is in some way impacted by MISMO. MISMO has developed over 100 standards, and currently over 1,000 lenders support MISMO, many of them through paying their annual innovation investment fund amount based on their loan production. So we appreciate everyone's support and encourage you to participate if you are not currently. So that is a quick overview of MISMO, and now we are going to turn it over to Chris. We're going to do a little bit of a switcheroo here with the screen share after a moment, and he's going to give you a demo, a live demo, but he'll take it from here and kind of give you an overview of what MISMO Link is.
All
Over
right.
to you,
Thank you,
Chris.
Kelly. Appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm going to walk through here, showing a couple slides as we go through to describe what we're going through, a little bit about MISMO Link. And you'll see me as this progresses over the next 15, 20 minutes, jumping into some use cases that talk and touch upon the functionality of MISMO Link on each part of the Model Explorer, the first module that's coming out from MISMO Link that's user-centric. So that being said, let's hop on over to the next slide. What is MISMO Link? So I like to think of this as MISMO Link has two parts. One of them started and has been live for over a year now. It manufactures the MISMO standards. We moved from at MISMO multi-year release to get reference model and updates out from the community to now multiple times a year. So Link makes and manufactures the reference model and the artifacts. So same source of truth. Then there's a user-centric side of what we're going to be talking about today. And the user-centric side is really focused on adoption, understanding, and implementation. So some pretty cool stuff I'm excited to share here. Let me see. Oops. All right. I forget it. I was messing with my video here. So that being said, there's three sections I want to go over. So the first module we're talking about today is called Model Explorer. It has a focus, as I said, for adoption and understanding. That's part of the user-centric side. But there's two other modules outside of that. They're going to be coming soon: the dataset management module specification and the API designer. So the Model Explorer module has three core sections at it today. And I like to think of this as different people use different tooling to understand, navigate, consume, and explain the MISMO reference model today. Traditionally, what MISMO has and publishes are, I call them artifacts, are Excel spreadsheets, essentially. So multiple tabs, multiple files across multiple versions. What we're seeing here is a web-centric application that is user-focused with three core sets of tools. We have tree view. So if anyone's familiar with schema viewers or viewing XML or data structures, this will feel very familiar to you. It's a simplified version of that, but searches all across the MISMO reference model. It's like exploring folders and XML tooling. Then we have the model view, which is an entity relationship style. And what that means, it's short, I would say, is you get to see how models, containers relate to each other, what the parent structure is, etc. And oops. Sorry about that. I had a dog that interrupted and wanted to hop in the
We
meeting.
love a barking dog. It's okay.
Love the barky dog, right? Three core sections. Apologize about that. Entity relationship is the model view. Great for impact analysis and seeing how things relate. Dictionary. So this is a simplified table format. We really try to structure this simply so people can get in, just use and find what they need and search across everything. Awesome. So high level overview, some of the components of Model Explorer, what it's about, user-centric, adoption, understanding, and some implementation. It can be used to build dataset specifications. Great. So we're going to start hopping into back and forth the Model Explorer live demo use cases. So first use case I'm going to walk through, I need to find and locate a unique ID in the MISMO for a MISMO data point in the reference model. And for those of you that may not know what a unique ID is, it's I like to think of it as in MISMO in an XML model, we have an XPath. It's how to get to something. So it's like if you're thinking about your home in a neighborhood, it's directions to your home. And then the unique ID part, I like to think of it as your address. So if you move, you're going to get another unique ID if that data point moves in the MISMO reference model. Um, and what I want to talk a little bit more or try to drive here 1 second. So as an analogy, I live in a tract home neighborhood. So some of the homes may be the same model as far as unique ID, same elevation, same style. They look the same, but you live someplace specific. I'm not just every home in the neighborhood. My neighbor has a home like mine, but I have my own address. That's your unique ID. So it's a unique part of the MISMO reference model. They may have some stuff that looks the same, but it's saying, hey, this is the one, and across this version, this is what I want to use. So we're going to find how to look at that. And the scenario I'm going to walk through today is, say I'm a BA building a data set specification. Data set specification, I like to say, is a contract that the industry can use based on MISMO, not always on MISMO, to exchange information between systems. So I'm tasked with, I need to send some borrower information to a trading partner. I want to standardize it. I need to find the unique ID to make sure we're referencing the exact same place in the model. So let's take a look at how that is and talk briefly about, as I go through here, how it works today. So essentially what this means is I would go to MISMO. If I'm not familiar with it, I would log in. I have to download a bunch of artifacts, one of them being unique ID matrix if I am a member. When I extract this, it's a gigabyte. I'm searching across multiple columns. I have to copy this information out individually. When we go through this task normally, it takes us about 10 minutes per row once we're finding things. I'm going to show you how we do that now in Model Explorer. So loaded up MISMO. I hopped into the Model Explorer, is what you're seeing on the screen here. Go into tree view. This is pretty standard across the system. So try to take an approach less is more. You're really presented with one thing you can do and some instructions. And here it's saying select the model version to get started. We're going to choose the latest, 362. On the left-hand side, it gave us some instructions we can navigate the tree. So for our example here, I'm going to use first name. And there's a reason why it's doing this. In the MISMO reference model I talked about earlier, and let me make sure I'm good on time here. Yep. I talked about earlier homes, tract homes specifically, like homes that look the same. So first name, what I was getting at here is first name is located 10,983 places across the MISMO reference model today in the latest version under message. So what that means is it looks the same, but it's at different locations in the model. So what we're tasked with here is finding the unique ID. So I'm going to hop on down, go to deal sets, and I'm just going to grab something that's short. But as I go down, what you're seeing here is hinting. And the hinting is giving you a hint of where and how many hits of first name are there. And on the right-hand side, as we navigate down, we see basic information about MISMO. If we want to see more, we can expand, etc., etc. But for today, we're just looking for the unique ID. I'm going to say first name. I want to get it for individual. There's different options, identity verification, aliases. I'm just going to go with name. Great. So I see first name's highlighted. Now the information is displayed. I can copy this out. I can copy the data point. It's a logical name that's here. This is what I was looking for as a BA. I can copy the unique ID. As I talked about earlier, in MISMO, there's this convention on artifacts. The first part is actually what it is, so first name. The second part is where it's at. So together, they're the unique ID, or the analogy I used earlier. It's your home and then the actual address. So walking through this process, great. I can copy this. One of the unique features I'll touch on real quick is if you want to copy this as a spreadsheet or you're building a specification, we've got this great feature. I'm going to say copy and copy with headers. And we can just copy this into our Excel. So what you're going to see is me just copying it, and boom, it's there. Normally in a spreadsheet, I have to jump to multiple tabs, combining this, multiple workflows. This keeps you just right in your workflow, right? So I can come down here, do the same thing, copy again, boom. I'm just going and I'm copying the unique IDs and the rest of the information that may support a dataset specification that you're going through. So pretty cool. This saves a lot of time for anyone that's went through the process, and make sure that everything's aligned and is what it is. 960. All right. So I'm going to keep it moving here on to our next use case. So to recap on the tree view, no, don't download. You see the data point in its actual position in the model. It's not a flat spreadsheet that you have to download, navigate, search across, grab for different versions. You see the versions and what it's supported in. It takes seconds, not minutes. So some pretty cool features. Next use case, finding enumerations for a data point. Awesome. So this uses the dictionary view, which is, as you would think, a dictionary. So more similar to a flat file, but searchable and loads all the information you need on the fly. So let's talk about this scenario that we'll walk through here. Hop back, boom, come back to Model Explorer. All right. Awesome. So as you see before, there's a common functionality or common walkthrough that we have here. We try to keep things as simple as possible. Oops, I'm on Model V for dictionary. You can search the definition, not just the name of things. Search the XML names, or show XML names, so not just the logical names, which are basically just human readable. And by type, if you want to limit it. By default, we show you everything. So how this would work today is, well, actually, let's go through this scenario first. So say I'm a technology vendor and I'm building a UI with a dropdown. I need to know every document type MISMO supports so I can decide which ones to include. Great. You can hop into dictionary view and check that out very quickly. If I want to search and see XML names, I can search by definitions. I'm just going to leave it by default to get started. Document type. And there we go. So we're able to search for version 3.62, which is the latest, or we could have changed it to all. We instantly get back the hits that have document type, following conventions in the application, highlighting to sort of guide the user to it. And boom, let's go ahead and click on it. So clicking on document type has a modal pop-up that's shown to the user with some information. Definition, what the data point is in MISMO, and this is how we send information back and forth, call it a data point. In this case, it's a enumerated type, the versions that support it, and then its parent containers. So where it lives in the MISMO model. If I want to find its specific address, there's a couple ways I can do that. We talked about that earlier with unique ID. I can click find in tree and navigate to it, or I can hop on down and look at the locations and grab the XPaths and the unique ID. Same thing, two different ways to approach it. So just tying that together from earlier. What we're here for is the enumerations, and document type has a lot of them. So what we're presented with here is being able to go through and quickly see what versions this enumeration's in for compatibility, which ones they are, what the definitions are, etc. One of the cool things about this, you'll see in a lot of the tables in Link, is you can export to Excel. And what's unique about this and different from the artifacts that MISMO supports today is each one of these enumerations is on a single line. I would say it's atomic. And what that means, it's easier if you needed to import it into something and also being able to view it in general. One line, one row, and then you get the compatibility all the way across in each cell. So pretty cool. If you're working with the team, you can quickly see, import these if you need to, and get about your way, know which ones across which versions you want to support. All right. So talking about, I sort of skipped over this, but today you'd be going through, if the process was done today, you would have to download ELDD, which is a member artifact from MISMO's website, version specific, open it in Excel, go to the enumerations tabs. The enumerations are comma delimited in one of the tabs, so not necessarily easy to see, not hard. They have different ways of displaying it. But right here, you can see you get in, get out, get back on your day. One of the things that's cool too, I'll share real quick. If I wanted to search this in reverse, say a trading partner says, oh, do you support this doc or where you support it? What I can do is just come back. I just grabbed one of the enumerated types, boom, and I see it immediately. Where it belongs to, we get that same hit. It belongs to document type. If I want to see document type and its siblings, I just hop right back in here and it brings me to the same screen. So pretty cool. One thing I want to point out is in moving on to the next user scenario is one view, every version, you can search either direction. The enumeration value to a data point or a data point and looking up the enumeration value. There's no spreadsheet downloads, there's no digging through it. You just get to stay in your workflow, finding those items real quick, get back to what you're doing. All right, and for demo purposes today, I'm gonna hop on over to our third use case, showing off model view. So what's pretty cool about this, I think, and different people learn in different ways, is the visual impact and analysis across versions. So great for visual learners, I feel like, and it supports compatibility checks when supporting older versions or newer versions and older versions. So the scenario I'm going to walk through today, let's say I'm moving from MISMO 3.4 to 3.6. I need to see what's changed in HELOC or vice versa. It can go backwards too and see compatibility so I can scope the impact on the system. All right, so today on this process, how it would work is I would download the version compare report, the container usages tab, I would go digging through. And then for each item, I would have to look up and see the compatibility. And then for each item's child, I would have to do the same. So I'm repeating these same steps, the same process, every nested container down. So I'm going to show you what this looks like when we use model view today. I like this as a collaboration piece for groups and understanding. So we're going to search for HELOC container. Let's start at MISMO 3.4.
We are getting a few questions. I just wanted to let everybody know that's great. Keep them coming in the chat. Chris is, this is the last use case for the demo, and then we'll pause and look at the questions. Some we've answered in the chat, but I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention. So
Awesome.
go
Thank
forward,
you. Thank
Chris.
you.
We'll
Yeah, I see it
pause
lined
when you're
up.
done.
That's just trying to move through here.
Yeah,
Oh, a
yeah,
lot of
finish
good
your,
questions too.
yeah.
All right. So Model Explorer. Oh, I'm sorry. Hopping back into this use case just to repeat and catch myself up. I'm a BA and I'm tasked with impact analysis, moving from MISMO 3.4 to 3.6.2, specifically in our domain, let's say HELOC, right? So what I did is I searched for HELOC. Let me maximize this and see if I can make it a little bit bigger for everyone. Great. And I'm on model version 3.4. So MISMO today, or Link, supports all 3x versions. So it's 3.0, as you'll see, through 3.6.2, and it's updated when new releases come out. So I touched base. I see that was one of the questions there. I just want to knock off as we go through. As this is the same source of truth that MISMO uses to manufacture their standards, there's no deviating from it. It uses the source of truth to project this information. So HELOC 3.4. We see there's some stuff in the MISMO model under HELOC containers. But I know from working with the groups and Smart Doc group, et cetera, they did some great work on expanding this for their use case. So let's take a look at the latest version that's in Link today, which is 3.6.2. And now you can start to see, wow, this has really grown, right? So if I move to 3.6.2, and we know that MISMO currently isn't doing breaking changes, so they're just additive, you start to see all this information that comes in that's available to you today and vice versa. So you have a parent relationship style diagram. You can see what HELOC belongs to, etc. HELOC rules, HELOC payment rules, and how it is and how it looks. So going back, you can flip through different versions and see how it evolves. This works for all containers in the MISMO reference model. Quick little bonus that I'll show here that HELOC doesn't demonstrate as much is if I look at name. So we talked about earlier name and first name, how it is available in a lot of places. These are all the different containers, the parents of name that reuse and use name. So not only is it nice to see the different changes, you can also see what uses what in their relations, like a traditional entity relationship diagram. So some pretty cool stuff. Um, doo-doo-doo. So closing this out on use case 3, instead of bouncing between tabs and then sort of reiterating and going through each child one by one to see what the differences are. And what I mean by each child one by one is, sorry about that. Today, you would need to look at HELOC occurrences, HELOC occurrence, HELOC fixed rate installment, and see what versions there are available when you go through those spreadsheets. This impact analysis can be done very quickly in a visual manner and also communicate this to your team. So it's a cool research tool among 3 other ones that we have here that help facilitate adoption of the standards. All right, we do have a couple minutes left, so I want to kick this back over to you, Kelly. Thank you, everyone, for letting me demo this and let you talk about next steps and questions.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Chris. And we'll get to the questions. I'm just going to zoom through a couple quick follow-up items here, which I think will answer maybe 1 or 2 of the questions that are in the chat as well. So, who benefits from MISMO Link? Well, all of you, everyone on the call today, right? But if you've joined any MISMO work groups, you can see that it's already been being utilized there. As a MISMO facilitator, I can tell you that I was working with a group that is building a data set, and it's just been amazing and such an efficiency gain for us. So whether you're a lender, servicer, investor, regulators and industry partners, a lot of talk in the industry right now about the mortgage compliance data set, and regulators that are involved in that from the state level would be a huge benefactor from using MISMO Link and implementing that standard. Certainly technology and software providers, as they're building and testing and validating against the MISMO standards, it's going to be a huge gain there. So, as far as specific roles, depending, what your role is with your company, something brought you to this webinar today, but be thinking of others that are on your team, from business analysts and product owners, certainly in, QA and testing teams, from compliance specialists and data governance teams. If it's not you, then who else on your team might benefit? Then certainly let them know about what you learned today and what you saw. It is being used already in the wild, as we say. So we've gotten a couple of great testimonials here from folks who've already submitted feedback and given us permission to share just how impactful the tool has been for them. You see the words game changing and powerful tool in streamlining the work, and that's exactly what it does. So we just have another moment or 2 here. If we don't get to questions, we can certainly follow up, but happy to stay on for a moment or 2 extra for those that are able to answer the questions as well. So I saw this in the chat. MISMO Link Model Explorer is available now to all MISMO members. You can log into it through your existing MISMO Connect or MBA credentials. There'll be more information coming prior to the end of June, really in tandem with the June summit about what happens after that, whether there will be a fee. So stay tuned for more information on that. There are, as I mentioned, tutorial videos, FAQs, and they link to access MISMO Link on MISMO.org, the MISMO Link page. And then there's going to be additional updates, as Chris alluded to already. The dataset management module and API designer module are coming soon. So there'll be a lot more to come. So that does bring us to the end of today's presentation. If we want to turn it back over to Sheila, and I don't know, Sheila, do you want us to take the questions?
Um,
If folks
Yes, thanks, Kelly and Chris, for that great presentation. Um, as we go through the questions, I just put up the post-webinar poll. If you could take a little time to respond to that, we would really appreciate it, as that will help to address our future webinars and other MISMO events. Kelly, did you want me to read the questions there, or how
Yeah,
did
I
you
mean, I
want to
can
proceed?
grab them because I think some of them
Okay,
were
sure.
answered by Perry or myself later or Amy in the presentation. Chris, I'm going to send this one your way. Does this support MISMO 3.6 JSON schema? I think,
Yes. So we are part of the update for API Designer is layering in those JSON-based functionalities as we work and collaborate with the MISMO API community of practice. So we'll see some additional updates come through on that. The MISMO reference model is agnostic. We try to present it like that, but you do see XML and XPath in certain places because that is where the model is most commonly used today, but it's
yeah,
not exclusive to that. And a really cool feature of having this in a central place now is we're able to project, search, and mutate those as we need, because the API toolkit does deviate a little bit in a way that helps adoption instead of just digging through artifacts. So keep an eye out on the third module coming this year, the API Designer, and there'll also be some updates that trickle in, I'm sure, to Model View Explorer as we launch the API eccentric JSON-based tooling.
okay. Great. And George had asked, and I see you answered it already, Chris, but just want to point that out to everybody that is there a way to import data sets from other orgs and find out if there's existing MISMO data points? That is absolutely one of the core features of Model Explorer, which is next on the horizon. And you'll hear more about that at the June summit as well. And then again, the question about the JSON, I think we already answered, and you answered again, Chris. I think that was it. I think the rest of the questions about how to access and what will happen after June 30th have been answered. So
Well,
appreciate it. And please
yes.
feel free to reach out to info@mismo.org if other questions come up after today.
Yes. So thanks again for Chris and Kelly, and thanks for everyone staying over a little past 12:30 so we could get some of the questions in. Again, we appreciate your participation today. Before you do leave, we would ask for you to participate in our webinar poll. As I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, we will be sending out a link to the recording of this webinar, as well as a PDF version of these PowerPoint slides. So again, thanks for everyone's participation today. And again, as you log off, please participate in our poll, and we look forward for you participating in future webinars and other MISMO events. So thanks again, everyone, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Thanks, Sheila. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks again.